Come take my hand and see the world around you. The time is right, just let the light surround you. And step by step you feel it coming alive, the feeling deep down inside.
The best memories are made when you take the road less traveled. Visit wanderingbutnotlost.com for some inspiration.
Today on Wanderings In, we are talking about wellness in nature, how you can actually continue to make yourself be well if you just focus on nature a little bit. I have found really over the last few weeks talking to people that people are starting to get COVID-19 a little bit in their head. And some of them are getting a little bit behind the 8 ball on it and are starting to get a little bit depressed about the whole thing or uncertain, more worried than they were, say, a month ago about what the future of and where we're really going with this. And the fact of the matter is we just don't know. So
do you think that has a lot to do with, like, in the beginning we're like, okay, we can do this. It's like 30 days or something or whatever. And now it's like, we could be like this for a long time, and that's what's starting, I think.
I really think it's starting to set in with some people that this is not a joke, and this may be. I mean, we're approaching
away overnight.
Exactly. We're approaching 100,000.
The heat didn't kill it. Apparently, the heat didn't kill it.
Right, exactly, because it's been freaking 90 degrees for 3 weeks. And we're approaching 100,000 lost lives, which is a horrible, horrible number, and I feel so badly for the people that have experienced that firsthand. And what they must be feeling about not only just the fact that it happened in the first place, but perhaps the response and everything. I mean, so there is a lot to this. It's going to be going on for a long time. So, not that we can cure the world, even though we certainly try every week. One thing that Jan and I've talked about since the inception of WBNO coaching really is work-life balance and trying to make sure that you are focusing on yourself and your own personal maintenance, at least a little bit every week to keep yourself safe and sane. So I'm going to put in the show notes today links to other podcasts and other blog posts that we've done over the years that just focus back on the kind of taking care of your mental health a little bit more. And Lord knows there is so much out there, from just apps, It's funny. I went on Calm the other day. I hadn't been on Calm in a long time. And I went on Calm the other day. Actually, I just love the commercial that comes on TV.
Yeah, that got you thinking about it, didn't it?
That it's raining, right? And it's like, do nothing for 30 seconds. I mean, it's really
great commercial,
really
right?
Yeah,
like the commercial is helping you.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Talk about something that sells a product. Well, that does it, and the breathing techniques that your sister has trained on for years and years. Those are very, very helpful now when things start getting a little bit stressful in your life. And even if everything is going fine in your world, there is still that whole feeling of the unknown and not knowing what's going on. Another thing we've been talking about for a full 119 episodes of the WBNL podcast is getting up and getting out. And I think that now more than ever, that is a really important thing that you need to be doing for sure. Getting up and getting out safely, of course, is super important. But by social distancing, we've talked about this over the last few episodes since all this shelter in place has happened. It seems like more people are out walking, more people out, getting a little bit of exercise and or you see them more at one time anyway, which I love. And people are being very respectful, I believe, as far as, keeping their distance and doing their thing. So, that's great. I'm seeing more masks now, which is interesting. I wasn't seeing a lot of masks in the beginning when I was doing some walking, but I'm starting to see more masks, which I think is, kind of the sign of the times. I think people are hearing that as things open back up, masks are going to be a part of the deal. Yeah. So I think people are either trying to get used to it, because, we talked about in the last segment that, neither you or I are really used to that quite yet. But once again, there's so many different ways you can actually get out and take a moment or two to kind of relax in nature. And I have found really over the last few weeks, as spring has started to sprung, just to see what's happened, with the plants. And Jan and I always have talked about how you really, if you stop anywhere you are and really just look more closely at your surroundings, you're going to find little things that you probably would just walk on by if you didn't, if you didn't actually take that time to look a little bit more closely. And I think those are the kind of things that we need to be more aware of and really be hyper focused of your surroundings. Because, and here's a good point of this, not in a way. I have a friend on Instagram who is taking a picture out of her window. I don't know if it's her bedroom window or upstairs window or what it is, out of her window once or twice a day and posting it on Instagram. Instagram. And you can see just in the short, 50, 55 days, however long this has been, that there is a change in the view outside of her room.
Wow.
And I think it is the coolest little exercise, because
That's
if
cool
you are
idea.
not looking at that on a regular basis and looking at the detail of that, you're going to miss that because you don't see it. You just don't see it. And I think it's a very, very cool thing. Things that have been keeping me going over the last month and a half or so is we have a lot of succulents in our yard. We live in California. We're trying to be water wise here. So we have a lot of cacti. And, people always that don't have a lot of cactus around don't really know the beauty of cactus, because they all bloom. And right now is blooming season for the cactus that we have in our yard. And it is amazing. We have one cactus. I know the name of it, but I can't pronounce the name of it, so I'm not going to do it here. But it has a beautiful bloom on it, almost like a water lily that comes out of that thing. It's this beautiful pink bloom. Last year when we had one bloom on that cactus, and it comes out, you can see it kind of coming out. Matter of fact, I don't know if you're familiar with the play or the movie Little Shop of Horrors,
Yes.
but it kind of looks like Audrey. It's like this weird little thing coming out, and then all of a sudden it opens to this gorgeous bloom on the flower, and then a day and a half later it's gone. I mean, it is a quick.
Did you post it?
Yeah, I haven't posted it. I have a picture of it. I haven't really felt great the last couple of days, so I've been a little out of it, but I am going to post that picture. It is so beautiful. And then this year there were 2 blooms on that flower. So it's weird how, every morning I usually get up, and this is my routine. Jan talks about a morning routine a lot. I will get up and I will have my coffee and my yogurt or something. We have a little breakfast nook, and I look out the window, and that particular cactus is right out of the slider right there. And it's cool to watch that whole thing happening. And that cactus has become a very big part of my morning, like to get up and get out there with my coffee to go see what's happening with that cactus. And yesterday the second flower was in full bloom. This morning it was still there, but not quite as beautiful. So tomorrow that show for the year will be gone. And I'm telling you that, it would have been hard for me to miss that, because I just look for things like that. But really, in a matter of 3 days or 4 days, probably, that all came and went. And if you are just walking by things and not paying attention to what's going on, that was a little bit of joy that that was brought into my life that I really, really appreciated. And then I started looking around, and like I said, I do this anyway.
It's the small things, though.
It is, just like
that story of your friend just looking out her window. It just shows that you don't need all this other stuff to just zero in on what's in front of you.
You don't. I'll try to put a link to her Instagram account, because, like I said, it's nothing. It's literally a South Sutter window. When she first started doing it, I'm like, what the heck is this? And it, like, after the second day, I'm like, because you see it in a certain light or a certain weather condition, or, and the grass grows. And it's really, really interesting to see. So I think it was a fascinating, one of the cooler things that I've seen online. But just getting back to other things you can do, we've already talked about getting out and taking a walk. Obviously, that's an important thing. It just gets your, first of all, it's good exercise, get your blood rushing, clears your head, does a lot of things that are very, very advantageous right now with everything that's going on. But so you really need to do that. If you can do that by yourself, maybe listen to a podcast, listen to some music, whatever, however you like to relax, doing it with others is great too. My wife and I will go on a little walk or try to go on a walk every little evening too, just so you kind of just talk about things and just kind of connect in a way. And I'm finding, and I know we talked about this in one of the previous podcasts, that people out walking tend to be a little more eager to talk to you as well, which, it's not like they're rude in the past, but people were in their zone. And I do find that I'm talking to more people when I'm outside now. It's interesting, because people there's a need, right? Obviously there's a lot of things that you can hone in on when you're out in nature beyond the plant life and everything as well, or even talking to people. I have found probably because of the weather or the air quality that's happening, and it being so much better, there seem to be a lot more birds. And if there aren't more birds, you're certainly hearing more birds than you did before. And I think that is another thing that you kind of take for granted in your daily life. But if you start to, when you're walking around or even sitting in your house and have the window open or something, just listening, it talk about something that can take the blood pressure, from here, way, 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 way down. So,
I have to ask, knowing your place because of cat and house sitting for you, I know that I enjoyed, and I'm enjoying it here in my house, is hummingbirds. Do you still have a little pair of hummingbirds that visits your tree?
Yeah, and actually, I've seen more hummingbirds walking around too, which is a really interesting thing.
walking around?
Yeah, I mean, just because you can see them, they have a very distinct flight. The way they dart around. I've seen more while walking around.
I thought I was like, what do you mean? You see
No,
them
no, I mean,
you've actually caught some hummingbirds stopping and walking.
Yeah, there's some birds walking around. Yeah, there's a field outside of our place at this time of year is just filled with mustard plant. So it's just this or a yellow field, and you can see there's a lot more bees around right now. There's a lot more hummingbirds around right now. It's just really interesting to see that. Something that I have kind of picked up from my neighbors, actually, they were doing a lot. Their kids are young, and they do a lot of chalk drawing in their yard and stuff. And I've noticed also as I've walked around the area that there are a lot more people doing stuff like that where they're actually, and this is kind of a cool idea. If you in your sidewalk out in front of your place or in the street out in front of your house or whatever it is, if you happen to have some of that chalk, go put a hopscotch. Go draw a hopscotch board out in front of your house, and not like you have to sit up there and stalk your own artwork, but you will probably be surprised at how many people will hopscotch through that thing.
Leave a little rock. Let people, it's open for hopscotching.
I know, exactly. Yeah, the street is open for hopscotch. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Something that we have not done yet, and we talk about all the time, is because we haven't gotten a chance to get up and go out to the national parks, is we're going to set up the tent in our house. And I'm not sure if I brought this up in a prior podcast or not, but we have just a small little 2-man tent, and we thought, let's go camping. So we might even do that this weekend, is set the tent up, get our little sleeping bags in there, get out our little lights, put on some
sleep out there in the living room in your inside tent.
Go camping in the living room, because there's 1,000 things you can be doing, to recreate your outdoor experience while you're indoors. What we would probably do during that, which is a little bit of a cheat on camping, but we have a ton of videos that we've made over the years in our national park tours and stuff, and we will probably lay in our tent and watch our videos from the national parks, which is kind of cool, right?
Nice.
Just a way to get out in a little bit more of an immersive way, I suppose, is
I love it.
One way to do that. So we're thinking about doing that. I think that it's important always to separate yourself from your work and your lunch period, or taking a break every once in a while. And I think, that one of the nicest things you can do is, grab yourself a sandwich or, make yourself a little lunch and then go outside and actually eat that food. It's, once again, you don't have to do a lot, and it can just be in your own yard. You don't have to go on some big expedition. You can, just get out of the environment, get into nature a little bit, and take your breaks there, just to mix up your day a little bit. Fresh air is good for you. I'm telling you, getting out of the house is a fantastic thing. You need to do your walks. I already talked about that. I have a little list here that I'm going down, so pardon me. And then, we've done so many things over the last few weeks about virtual webcams and videos and activities you can do. All that's available, and all of it's great. I'm not knocking any of that. I think it's fantastic because it takes you to places that you aren't able to go to right now. But I really think that you have to carve out a moment of your day, no matter what you decide that moment is going to look like, for you to actually get up and get out of the house and go do something outside. I think it's really important that we don't become, actually all locked up into our computers. We're on the computer all day long. I mean, I try to monitor my screen time as much as I possibly can. I always have, but I do find that I'm on my phone or I'm on something all the time now. And it's just, you have got to take a break from that. Totally. Would you agree, Jen?
Yeah, and I actually think during this, I've been better at balancing all that out. I had a tendency before to be on the go all the time and not stop and have lunch.
Right.
Or
That's true.
Even eat breakfast. And I've been doing that. I've been better at my morning routine and stopping and taking a lunch break consistently. It's good. Yeah, and I've been more productive, I think. I actually feel like I've worked. I need a break. I'm ready to take a vacation.
Yeah. Well, actually, we've talked about that, right? Seems like we've been busier in the last 45, 50 days than we were way before that. So anyway, so that's just a couple tips that we could, that we're offering up today, just to bring a little bit of the nature, into your life. If you haven't already done that, I feel like it would do kind of it's like a broken record with us because we do talk about it all the time. We practice as much as we possibly can ourselves. But I really do recommend that you don't do it if you haven't already started to experience some of that yourself, because it can be really, really good for your HAID during all of the COVID-19 that's going on in the world right now. We have a ton of stuff over in the show notes, other tips. We have a couple videos in the show notes over there as well, as along with some pictures. So go check out the show notes over at wbnlpodcast.com or wanderingbutnotlost.com. And, just get up and get out, people. We're all going to get through this. We've talked about that before. Just do it, people, and be forever wandering but not lost. Exactly.
Just do it.